Alastor, the radio demon, was the most powerful overlord in hell, terrorizing every single other overlord he could find, but after a certain incident, he is now forced to be content by what was left for him by putting on a fake smile. In this video, I will take a careful look at his words and actions to fully comprehend how desperately Alastor wishes to be freed from his shackles, while having so much charisma that he fooled an entire fandom into thinking that he's secretly a good person. When Alastor first came to the Hazbin Hotel, he claimed he wanted to help Princess Charlie Morningstar to run the hotel for his own entertainment. While seeing this hotel as a joke, he actually puts a lot of effort into it, so much so that he even placed his life on the line against the angels. But escaping death by a hair, he is desperate to find a loophole around the soul deal he has made. Alastor is smart and resourceful, therefore, given an opportunity, he tries to make a soul deal with Charlie at her lowest point, as she just picked a fight with heaven and doomed all the people she loves. At first, Alastor tries to provoke Charlie even further, but Charlie is not happy with his provocations and asks him how he can have so much fun. Alastor tells her the truth about his smile. He tells her that just because you see a smile, don't think you know what's beneath it. A smile is a valuable tool, my dear. It inspires your friends, keeps your enemies guessing, and ensures that no matter what comes your way, you're the one in control. But Charlie wasn't in control. She needed information on how to hurt angels. Therefore, Alastor offers her that information. Charlie, being desperate, even tells him that she will do anything for it. But then she wasn't sure if she could give up her own soul. Alastor suspected so. Instead, he asks her for a small favor, but Charlie immediately says that she won't hurt somebody for him, suspecting that he has some kind of target in his mind. Despite her forthcoming personality, always seeing good in demons, she could actually be right at Alastor's end goal. Not to mention, Charlie is a hypocrite, accepting knowledge on how to kill angels, so whatever Alastor is up against is probably even scarier than angels. Not to mention the face she makes that says, "I know what your deal is, so back away" kinda face. Alastor tries to play it off as if it's not a big deal, while still asking for the same favor when time arises, but without hurting anyone, and so Charlie agrees to Alastor's condition. When that happens, we can see Alastor stitches on his mouth, which forces a smile he can never remove. I know this because even when he was hurt, he never stopped smiling. I think someone forced this on him, because this was revealed when Alastor was in the middle of a soul deal, which revealed the stitches on his body. I can assume that he got all of those wounds by fighting someone more powerful in hell, and to save his own skin, he handed over his own soul to the same person who hurt him or someone else. After the contract is shaken, Vaggie barges in to save Charlie, but she is stopped by her instead. From Vaggie's perspective, it looked like she was protecting him in the soul deal, but Alastor tells her that it was a false alarm, as she still owns her soul, while looking suspiciously to the side. A typical face of a liar who is coming up with a lie on the spot, meaning that he has found some kind of loophole which would allow him to take advantage of her soul, although with limitations. The next question would be who owns Alastor's soul. This was revealed when Husk mentions it, and Alastor did not take it lightly. He threatened his life for saying this ever again. Husk is someone who went into debt by gambling it. In order to become an overlord, you have to be overwhelmingly powerful against ordinary sinners. One way to do that is to own the majority of our sinner souls to gain that power. Husk tried to achieve it by gambling on it, and Alastor took that opportunity to take it all away from him by beating Husk at his own game. To get out of debt, Husk had to sell his own soul to pay Alastor back. That soul deal tells us that Husk is forced to stay at the Hazbin Hotel against his own will, but he has still opportunities to take a short break from it by staying out of it. It seems Husk can walk away from it at the risk of Alastor's wrath. Well, at the moment we do not know how soul deals really work, but if Alastor really sees the light at the end of a tunnel, then there must be some truth to that. Alastor is too prideful to let anyone else know that he's on a leash, so Husk mentioning it was the first time someone reminded him of that fact. It could have been a simple guess or an insult from his perspective, but looking at how Alastor could not contain his usual composure, he hit the nail on the head. Alastor hates the fact that he's not the one in control, but someone else's. It wouldn't matter who owned his soul, just the fact that someone does own it angers him deeply. If it's all about pride, then Alastor must have come to hell with his own power and no one else's. I like to think so, because when he was fighting Adam, an interesting line appeared from Alastor saying, "You should know better than anyone what a soul can accomplish when they take charge of her own fate." But being backed into the corner, he had to make some kind of sacrifice. Husk also states that nobody knows why he was gone for 7 years. universe, including the fact that Lilith started missing at the same time. It would all make sense until you realize that Husk knows that someone owns his soul. Maybe Husk is under a false impression that someone who attacked him owns his soul, but in reality Lilith has it for saving his life. I say this because I don't think Alastor could admit defeat to the person who is trying to kill him, so instead he looked for an alternative solution to save his own skin. It could be that when Lilith saved Alastor's life, she did it for a small favor, like Alastor is doing to Charlie right now. Alastor probably knows how far a small favor can be used against him, including the fact Alastor is looking for loopholes, which would be impossible to do so if he had lost full control of his soul. Lilith's small favor could be like, please look after my daughter, Charlie, therefore Alastor has some wiggle room in his approaches. In Charlie's song when recruiting cannibals, Alastor sees Charlie with potential he can guide, assuming she will become strong enough to take care of herself and he might not need to supervise her so much. I think that is Alastor's plan. An interesting detail appeared when Alastor met Rosie, and in that meeting she offered him a job. While I passed it off as a useless information, but after I consider it more, it basically tells us that Rosie is not aware of a soul deal between Alastor and someone else, and also the reason she offered him the job in the first place is because Rosie trusts Alastor for never wronging her before, so I can assume Alastor is a fair individual because of his pride. When Alastor and Adam were fighting for the first time, Alastor had the advantage of going all out from the start, but after Adam was overwhelmed, he suddenly increased his power output. Alastor was not prepared for it and got badly injured. He got mad that he was almost killed because someone is forcing him to go through all that stuff. Alastor gets even angrier when the memory of him could have been something like the great Alastor Altruist died for his friends. The notion that this could have been the future upsets him deeply. He wants to get back his freedom, which would allow him to control all the strings again. Maybe he has minimal sympathy for Charlie, but not enough to overshadow his ambitions. He wants even compromise himself with television stuff for Charlie's sake, despite the fact he really dislikes meddling with stuff like this. When Alastor comes back feeling constrained after the fight, he goes back to his old and destroyed radio station. I can probably guess that Alastor went on that famous radio rampage that Mimsy was talking about, only to be stopped by someone stronger than him. It's possible that he underestimated his opponent's power, similarly when he was underestimating Adam until he suddenly started taking the fight more seriously, which was enough to beat Alastor in 2 moves. The first one destroyed his microphone cane, which for a moment decreased his old radio sound effect, which was always coming out of his mouth. The microphone does not give a user radio sound effect as it was shown when Charlie was using his microphone to make her voice louder, so it's more of a speaker than a microphone. And finally, the second attack was a deep cut in his body, which forced him to run away. The taste of freedom he felt from a war with his life on the line gave him some semblance of hope that the deal he's locked into might have some kind of loopholes he can work around, and if he can pull it off, then he will unclip his wings and finally be the one pulling all the strings. That would be my take on Alastor's true nature with the information I was given throughout the series. If you agree or disagree with my opinion, feel free to express it in the comments. And while you're at it, would you be opposed to leaving a like and subscribing for more character analysis? If not, I will see you there.